5 people. Alright, good morning everybody. My name is Cameron Johnson. As all you know me, I'm a flight instructor here at UHI. And in this speech, I'm going to talk about flight following and how it may save your life. So, as a helicopter pilot, you have a high workload. You're tuning the radios, you're messing with the GPS, making sure you're flying at the right altitude and airspeed. All that requires a lot of head down time, which is time that you could be spending out looking for other traffic, right? I'm sure most of you guys have had close calls with other aircraft. The National Airspace System in the U.S., 220,000 aircraft are operating in it daily. That's on average. That statistic was given to us by the FAA. You can look up all sorts of FAA fun facts on their fact sheets, and they publish new stuff like almost monthly. 2015, the fact sheet hasn't been published for about how many people are operating in the U.S.'s National Airspace System yet. But all these pilots, they're all doing the same thing you are. They're looking down at the GPS, looking at their altimeter and their airspeed indicator, making sure they're flying at the right altitude and airspeed, which is a lot of head down time. 91-113, I'm sure you guys are familiar with that regulation. It talks about right-of-way rules, and right here, each person operating an aircraft so as to see and avoid other aircraft. So see and avoid, looking outside and methodically looking for other aircraft before you make a turn, clear into the turn and stuff like that. Which everybody looking down, messing with the radios and GPSs can lead into, mid-air collisions. Mid-air collisions can happen to you anywhere from your first flight to 15,000 hours of flight. There's factors that can affect you seeing and avoiding other aircraft, like environmental things, like maybe it might be dusk, or it might be nighttime, it might be cloudy or foggy or hazy or whatever it may be. Also, aircraft blind spots are a big deal. You can think about a high-wing Cessna or a low-wing Piper or something like that. Pilot's sitting in his cockpit, he has a wing up over his head, that's a blind spot, right? Or a low-wing plane like this, you can't really see what's below him. Fortunately for us, in the R-22, or an R-44, we have a great field of view. Sometimes we fly with the doors off so we can see out the right or the left or the front. But you got to keep in mind high-wing planes and low-wing planes, you want to stay out of their blind spot so you don't become one of those mid-air collision statistics. Here's an example of a pilot not utilizing the see and avoid concept. This pilot departed out of Falcon Field and was heading out towards Superstition Springs. This is the path he took right here, and that's where his wreckage was found, right there. He was trying to stay under the Bravo shelf. It was the Bravo shelf right there starts at 5,000 feet. His last radar return was 4,500, so he was 500 feet below it. As soon as he got out of the Bravo airspace, or underneath the Bravo shelf, he ended up smacking into this mountain here. It was dusk, there's a little bit of clouds obscuring these mountains, but he ended up putting it into a mountain. Some more wreckage there. This is his path, 5,000, he was at 4,500, smacked into the mountain. So this is where the see and avoid concept could fail, is if the pilot is under the pressure of staying outside of Bravo airspace, right? Or the pilot's under the pressure of meeting a deadline, trying to get somewhere. Controlled flight in the terrain is what happened to this guy. He's on the controls, flying the aircraft's operating perfectly, and then he puts it in a terrain, whether wires or mountain or whatever it may be. So you might ask yourself, how could this be mitigated? What are some options available to me besides the see and avoid concept? Well, you have Air Route Traffic Control Center. Flight following. I'm sure most of you guys have used flight following before. Yeah? Cool. So flight following is a service provided by Air Route Traffic Control Center where they give you radar coverage throughout your route of flight. You're flying along and they'll tell you, hey, helicopter or whatever, there's a Cessna 2 miles north of you, 3,000 feet. That's something that you might not have seen until it gets dangerously close to you.
Or terrain, and they'll tell you to climb.
For sure, like that plane that smacked it into Superstition Springs. ATC could have told him that, hey, you're approaching terrain. Might have saved his life. Transitioning through busy California airspace, flight following is a great tool. They'll give you, a lot of times they'll give you clearance to enter different airspaces, and you can maintain Air Route Traffic Control Center two-way radio communication all the way through all these other airspaces that you would have to constantly, oh, I'm entering another airspace, gotta change the radio frequency. Changing the frequency, a lot of head down time. And LAX, Southern California area is an extremely busy area for helicopters. So I would encourage you to use flight following there. How you can use flight following is you just look in the AFD at the airport you're operating around or like you're departing from, and they'll give you Phoenix approach and departure control. That would be the frequency you could request flight following from. That little R, radar. There's radar services available on that frequency. One last thing I'm going to leave you with is that you can't rely on ATC to provide complete separation. You can't get in that highway hypnosis mode and be like, well, I got ATC looking out for me, I'm just going to be looking straight ahead. You got to maintain a methodical scan. Alright, that's it guys.